whole seminar holds a lot of importance in the current context, and by the current context I mean if you remember, in 2022 Pakistan made public its first ever national security policy, which in itself is a huge feat, where Pakistan has for the first time listed a lot of traditional and non-traditional threats that national security has been facing. But one key distinctive feature of this national security policy is that Pakistan has put all its bets on national security, on economic security. To put it in simple words, that Pakistan has kind of decided that all the traditional and non-traditional aspects of security can be countered in a much better way if we focus on economic security. So in this context, we will be having this seminar. We'll be trying to explore how Pakistan can attain economic security, what kind of strategic communication is needed, how Pakistan can create synergy in its national security policy. That's the essence. Further delay, let's start with the initial part, where we have some key addresses scheduled. I would like to invite initially in the first part, I would like to invite DGUMT, Dr. Abid Shirwani, to please come on the stage and share his thoughts regarding that seminar.
The Pak-Iran 2,700-kilometer gas pipeline delivers natural gas from Iran to Pakistan, are still in the pipeline for many years and need to be implemented urgently. I would like to mention that according to the Pakistan Statistics Bureau, CPEC has already created 75,000 new jobs in Pakistan, which is expected to be create more in the coming years, and it is extremely important for the prosperity and the strategic stability of Pakistan. Furthermore, Pakistan has excellent potential for economic diplomacy, particularly in the Middle East, Africa and Central Asia. The government needs to focus on developing partnership with these regions to increase exports, create new jobs and improve the overall economic situation, and for this purpose, we should need to enhance our skill set and expertise in technical requirements.
So far as top 50 exporting items of Pakistan are concerned, there is a scope of almost $22 billion in Golden Ring region, which must be exploited to close the existing gap between total imports and exports of Pakistan. It has also been a long-standing stance of LCCI that we must work towards diversifying our exports markets to reduce dependence on few countries. Second, priority should be given to improving FDI. Pakistan should create a favorable environment for foreign investors by improving its infrastructure, reducing bureaucratic hurdles, and providing long-term incentives for investment.
Chairman GREF, Mr. Sikandar Hassan.
Starts with an ability to better understand target audiences. Align your style of communicating along with your organizational goals, and it's also an ongoing process which involves incorporating and analyzing feedback and creating a productive two-way interactive conversation rather than a monologue. Strategic communication fuses the pushing and the delivering. According to Shaina Anglin, who teaches public relations and corporate communications at Georgetown, being strategic means communicating the best message through the right channels measured against well-considered organizational and communication specific goals.
Insights, we have one keynote speech, and for this I would like to invite Chairman, Department of Political Science, Dr. Mohammad Shoaib Parvez. Please come on the stage. Before I hand it over, Dr. Shoaib did his PhD from Leiden University, Holland in International Relations. Later on, he did his postdoc from US. He has a lot of international publications in journals of international repute, and he is author of a book published from Routledge as well. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Dr. Shoaib.
You need to understand the strategic culture first before going to strategic communication. And strategic culture is developed not only by people in the powers, corridor power, but by all of us through our own practices. So I'll come to that later in the recommendation part. So what I'm telling you, the number one impediment for strategic communication is the presence of security dilemma. Number two, it is the problem of perceptions and misperceptions. Whatever you want your enemy to perceive or your friend to perceive, it is not taken as such. It is rather misperceived. So that requires an effective cognition, an effective information tool, an effective strategic communication.
And third panelist is Dr. Syed Mozam Ali Hashmi. Each panelist has got 10 minutes. I would like to take a start with Dr. Zainab. Dr. Zainab is Assistant Professor and Chairperson, Department of International Relations at Garrison University. She has also been, in the past, she has been attached to GREF as a Senior Research Scholar. Her areas of interest are water security, national security, regional security, Indo-Pacific, and strategic communication. In today's seminar, her theme is revolving around, in simple words, she is trying to connect, she will be talking about how strategic communication is linked to national security, and second is how we can synergize national security policy of Pakistan with respect to strategic communication.
Is that the concept of coordinated actions, messages, images, and other forms of signaling and involvement aimed at informing, influencing, and convincing a selected audience to support national goals. It is a comprehensive political, diplomatic, economic, and military engagement with a selected and targeted audience. So, when we talk about strategic communication in international relations, the very important components are the political, diplomatic, economic, and military engagement, and a very important ingredient is the targeted audience, because certainly the message has to be delivered to a certain audience, and that or the behavior of that audience has to be transformed. That is the basic requirement of strategic communication.
On Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we have seen the use of chemical weapons in Vietnam War, so on and so forth. So what do we have when we talk about strategic communication and Golden Wave? I think we need to utilize our soft power by identifying various sections and resource pool of Golden Wave.
So Walter Cronkite started a show, and that reframed the narrative of going into Vietnam. He started saying that, no, going to Vietnam is a mistake, we don't need that, bring people back, end this war. And President Johnson then, President Johnson, the American president, had to, succumb to the pressure, and troops were called back from, this is the power of narrative. This is what we also need. Now, various shades of social mobilization, Arab Spring, Orange, Pink revolutions, Obama's elections of 2008, Trump's election, Modi's election, and even PTI election of 2018 are termed as the social media election.
Africa, Middle East, and Gulf region. His theme today is revolving around strategic communication policy framework for economic diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Ambassador Syed Hassan Raza.
Business. So we have to understand these things. We do not have to overemphasize ideologies, religions, and our belief system. We have to be very pragmatic. We have to understand what is the bottom line. We have to understand what's the GDP of Pakistan right now. We are sliding down. We are coming to about $280 billion. We had gone over to about 300 and plus. Our national wealth is decreasing every day. Every day our national wealth is increasing.
My main argument is that contrary to the prevailing notion that politics drive the economic changes. It seems that given the complex nature of the region with South Asia, Russia, Iran and Turkey and China, expecting that change in political framework will lead to economic prosperity, I think it's a misnomer. We need to really change that lens and see whether the economic diplomacy or economic policies can actually help changing the political landscape. And
that in terms of economic integration within the region. But some of the security and other concerns that we have already observed in the region has hampered the progress of economic integration in South Asia in particular. Now I was going through some of the empirical literature of how economic integration can have a nexus on the economic growth of a region. While looking at some of the EU member countries, it witnessed that the member countries have witnessed around 8 to 10% of increase in the economic growth. Not only economic growth, but also the poverty has reduced much significantly among the European member countries.
In this endeavor, Pakistan has been taking steps to leverage its economic and strategic role in transforming regional politics with greater emphasis on regional connectivity. On January 14, 2022, Pakistan announced its first ever national security policy that places economic security at one of the core components of comprehensive notion of national security.
This will rationalize why I am showing you this poster, because strategic communication is about living inside the mind and the heart of it. It is only then it is possible, regardless of whatever sphere that you wish to apply strategic communication, it is only then possible that you can mobilize people with viscerally, emotionally, intellectually, diplomatically, theoretically, conceptually, culturally, historically, situational, and you name it, any sphere of action. And only, last year on 14th August in FATA, VTM was celebrated as a Black Day. So we can see we are talking about strategic communication and what is happening in our country. And here is another, just to elaborate further, how does strategic communication